Hello everyone, welcome back to ELC-Studies. Today we are going to delve into the Francis Bacon essay of truth. So it is an essay written by a renowned English philosopher, statesman and essayist in the 16th century, Francis Bacon. And in this essay, Bacon explores the concept of truth and its significance in human life. The essay is written in a didactic and contemplative style, urging readers to seek truth and embrace its value. Here is a detailed explanation of the essay. Bacon begins the essay with a philosophical inquiry into the nature of truth. He emphasizes that truth is a critical aspect of human life and that people generally do not pay enough attention to it. He suggests that many people avoid truth or twist it to suit their convenience, which hinders their understanding of reality. Bacon uses the phrase "justing Pilate" in his essay to illustrate the human tendency to avoid or dismiss the truth. In the Bible, Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, asked Jesus Christ what is truth after Jesus had refused to answer his question about his identity and teachings. Bacon uses this anecdote to argue that people often do not want to know the truth because it can be inconvenient or challenging. He writes, "Certainly there be the delight in giddiness, and count it a bondage to fix a belief, affecting free will in thinking as well as in acting." In other words, some people find it more comfortable to live in a state of uncertainty and doubt than to commit to a particular truth, even if that truth is inconvenient or difficult to accept. In the next lines, Bacon is discussing the state of philosophy in his time compared to the ancient philosophers. So let's break down the lines. "And though the sects of philosophers of that kind be gone." In this line, Bacon begins by referring to the various schools or group of ancient philosophers which were well defined and had distinct approaches to understanding the world and human knowledge. These sects are no longer prevalent in his time, meaning that the specific philosophical schools from the past have disappeared or become less influential. In the next line, "Yet there remain certain discoursing wits." Bacon is discussing that despite the disappearance of the ancient philosophical sects, Bacon suggests that there are still people with sharp intellectual abilities. The term discoursing wits refers to the individuals who possesses the capacity for thoughtful and analytical reasoning. These are people who engage in intellectual discussions and debates and exploring ideas and concepts. Next line is, "which are of the same veins." Bacon implies that these contemporary intellectuals share a similar vein or disposition with the ancient philosophers. They have a comparable inclination towards intellectual pursuits and the search for truth. Finally, Bacon acknowledges that while these contemporary thinkers may have the same intellectual tendencies as the ancient philosophers, they may not possess the same depth of knowledge or brilliance as their predecessors. The metaphorical reference to blood here suggests the richness and vitality of their ideas and insights. In other words, although modern thinkers may be capable, but they may not reach the same level of intellectual achievement as the great philosophers of past. But it is not only the difficulty and labor which men take in finding out of truth, nor again that when it is found, it imposed upon man's thought that doth bring lies in favor, but a natural though corrupt love of the lie itself. In these lines, Bacon delves into the human tendency to embrace falsehoods and lies despite the difficult pursuit of truth. Bacon argues that people face challenges and put in considerable effort to discover the truth. However, even when they eventually stumble upon the truth, it can be mentally taxing for individuals to accept and acknowledge it. as it might challenge their existing beliefs or force them to confront uncomfortable realities. Yet Bacon contends that the prevalence of lies and deceit goes beyond mere difficulty and resistance of truth. He attributes it to a deeper inherent flaw in human nature, a natural though corrupt love of the lie itself. This suggests that there is a part of human psychology that is drawn to falsehoods and deception, either out of self interest, a desire for comfort, or a tendency to believe what is more convenient or pleasing. In the next lines, Bacon discusses the perplexing nature of why some people are drawn to and propagate lies, even when there seems to be no apparent benefit or purpose behind doing so. So, Bacon mentions a group of ancient Greek philosophers who pondered this matter but are unable to arrive at a satisfactory answer. Here is a reference to a Greek philosopher, Lucian, who lived in 125 BC. He points out that there are certain situations where people lie for pleasure, like poets who create fictional stories for entertainment or for advantage, as merchants might do to gain an edge in trade or negotiations. However, the puzzling aspect arises where people lie simply for the sake of lying itself without any discernible motive. To explain this phenomena in a broader context, we can consider the various psychological and sociological factors that may contribute to the love of lies. For example, human nature and ego, fear of consequences, like lying can be a defense mechanism to avoid punishment, judgment, or negative outcomes. Manipulation and control, escapism and wishful thinking, group dynamics and social acceptance, and habit and reinforcement. Now comes a wonderful comparison he made between the nature of truth and how it contrasts with the deceptive and artificial aspects of the world. Bacon begins by stating that he cannot fully articulate or describe the true essence of truth. Truth here represents genuine honesty and authenticity in various aspects of life, such as human behavior, relationships, and the way the world operates. Next, Bacon uses a metaphor to compare truth to a naked and open daylight. Just as daylight illuminates everything clearly, truth is like a bright light that reveals things as they truly are without any concealment or distortion. He contrasts this truth with the masks, memories, and triumphs of the world. Masks represents the facades and pretense people put on to hide their true selves or intentions, while memories refer to theatrical performances or ceremonies that might be grand and showy but lack the true substance. Triumphs represents public displays of victory or achievement that may be celebrated, but that might not necessarily be built on genuine accomplishments. In broader terms, Bacon's message here is to value truth and authenticity over deceit and pretension. Truth may perhaps come to the price of a pearl that showeth best by day, but it will not rise to the price of a diamond or carbuncle that showeth best in varied lights. Here, Bacon suggests that some truths may be valuable, comparable to a pearl, but their value is evident and appreciated only under certain circumstances. Like a pearl that shines brightly in a light of day, certain truths are apparent and easily recognizable when exposed to investigation. In contrast, Bacon suggests that there are deeper truths that are much more valuable, comparable to diamonds or carbuncles. Carbuncles is a bright red gemstone, and these profound truths reveal their brilliance in diverse circumstances and perspectives, just as diamonds sparkle and shine in various lights. These higher truths are not superficial but can be multifaceted and complex, requiring a deeper understanding and insight to appreciate fully. Now, Bacon explores the idea that a combination of truth and falsehood, or a mixture of lie, can sometimes be more appealing or pleasurable to people. He suggests that if all the vain opinions, flattering hopes, false valuations, and imaginations were removed from people's mind, it would leave them feeling empty and unhappy. Bacon argues that human minds tend to find comfort in illusions and optimistic beliefs. These false notions may make life more enjoyable or bearable, even though they are not entirely based on reality. For example, people may cling to dreams of success or unrealistic expectations about their future, and these illusions can provide a sense of hope and excitement. And if these comforting lies were taken away, then Bacon believes that people's minds would become poor, shrunken things, lacking in vitality and enthusiasm. The absence of these false hopes and dreams could lead to melancholy and a general sense of unease. Essentially, the human psyche relies on a certain degree of self deception to maintain a positive outlook and emotional well being. In the next sentence, Bacon references a belief held by one of the ancient scholars who compared poetry or poesy to venom demonum, which can be translated to the wine of demons or the wine of devils. The term vinum demonum implies that poetry has a stimulating and intoxicating effect on the imagination, similar to how wine can intoxicate the senses. Bacon acknowledges that poetry has the power to ignite and excite the human imagination. It can evoke strong emotions, create vivid mental images, and transport readers or listeners to fantastical realms. Just like wine can lift one's spirits and alter their perception, poetry can deeply influence the way people perceive and interrupt the world around them. However, Bacon adds a critical twist to this comparison by stating that poetry is but with the shadow of a lie. Here he suggests that while poetry may be captivating and compelling, it is not necessarily an objective truth or reality. Poetry often involves using figurative languages, metaphors, and creating and creative embellishments to convey ideas and emotions. As a result, it might not adhere strictly to factual reality. Now, Bacon delves into the concept of lies and their impact on the human mind. He distinguishes between two types of lies, the one that merely pass through the mind and the ones that deeply settle and take root within it. Lies that passed through the mind. Bacon says that these are the transient, superficial lies that don't leave a lasting impression on an individual. They might be encountered in daily life, such as harmless white lies or casual deceptions. Bacon suggests that these lies are not particularly harmful since they don't have a lasting effect on the person's belief or character. But the lies that sinked in and settled in it. On the other hand, he points out that certain lies have a more profound impact on the mind. These are the lies that are internalized, believed, and accepted as truths. When a person embraces such lies, they can cause significant harm because they become the part of individuals' belief system and shape their perception of reality. In the next sentence, Bacon discusses the nature of truth and its significance for human beings. He begins by acknowledging that people's judgments and emotions can often be clouded or influenced by their personal biases and preferences, leading to a distorted perception of what is true. However, despite these limitations in human judgment and emotions, Bacon asserts that truth possesses certain intrinsic qualities. Truth is self referential and self evident. It does not depend on external factors for its validation or judgment. It stands on its own merits and does not require anyone else's approval. Bacon then presents three essential aspects of truth and their roles in human life: inquiry of truth, knowledge of truth, and belief of truth. So he says that it is true that lies are attractive, it is true that it is easier to believe in falsehood, but the fact remains that the pursuit of truth is the inquiry of truth, and the knowledge of truth, that is, the realizing of truth, and the belief in the truth, or the pursuit of truth, is the ultimate good of human nature, sovereign good of human nature. So, the greatest good a man can do is to go after truth, to discover the truth, and to make it his guiding principle. That's the best thing that a human being can do. The first creature of God in the works of the days was the light of the sense. This line refers to the initial stage of human perception and understanding. It suggests that the first things humans became aware of in the world was their basic sensory experiences, what they could perceive through their senses, such as sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. So, this represents the most fundamental level of knowledge grounded in direct observation. The lost was the light of reason. As humanity evolved, the next stage of understanding emerged, the light of reason. Reasoning involves the use of intellect and logic to analyze and interpret the information gathered through the senses. It goes beyond mere observation and delves into the deeper comprehension and insight. So, this marks as a higher level of knowledge compared to sensory perception. His Sabbath work ever since is the illumination of his spirit. Here, Bacon introduces a spiritual dimension to the progression of knowledge. He suggests that the ultimate and ongoing pursuit of understanding lies in the illumination of his spirit. This refers to divine or spiritual enlightenment that exceeds the limitations of human senses and reason. So, it implies a deeper innate comprehension of truth and the world around us, possibly obtained through spiritual insight, inspiration, or revelation. Bacon uses metaphorical language to explore the concept of truth and its dissemination in the world. Let's break down the lines to understand their broader meaning. First, he breathed the light upon the face of the matter or chaos. Here he refers to God or a higher power, and matter or chaos represents the primordial state of the universe, symbolizing the state of confusion, ignorance, and lack of knowledge. Breathed the light suggests the act of bringing knowledge and enlightenment to this state. So, in the broader meaning, Bacon is implying that at the beginning of time or creation, knowledge and truth were infused into the world, bringing order and understanding out of chaos and ignorance. Then he breathed light into the face of a man. Here, man represents humanity, and breathed light again signifies the imparting of knowledge and understanding. So, this line suggests that human beings were granted the gift of a reason and capacity to discover and comprehend truths around the world. Here, Bacon is pointing out that human beings have been given the ability to seek and understand truth, and through reason and observation, they can discover the underlying principles governing the universe. And still, he breathed and inspired light into the face of his chosen. In this line, his chosen likely refers to individuals who are particularly wise, knowledgeable, and spiritually agreed. So the phrase, the breath and inspired light, indicates an ongoing process where higher knowledge and truth are continually being revealed to these chosen individuals. So Bacon is suggesting that divine or profound insights are not limited to the past but are continually revealed to exceptional individuals, thinkers, scholars, scientists, or spiritual leaders, who become the torch bearers of truth, advancing knowledge and understanding for the benefit of humanity. So, overall, these lines from Bacon's essay emphasize the idea that truth and knowledge are not static but have been infused into the world and human beings from the beginning of creation. The poet that beautified the sect that was otherwise inferior to the rest sat yet excellently well. Bacon starts by referencing a poet who managed to elevate and enhance a particular group or idea, even though it might have been considered lesser or less esteemed compared to others. It is a pleasure to stand upon the shore and to see ships tossed upon the sea, a pleasure to stand in the window of a castle and to see a battle and the adventures thereof below. Here, Bacon compares the pleasure one derives from watching ships being tossed by the waves from the safety of the shore and the joy of observing a battle from the vantage point of a castle window. So, these experiences offer a sense of excitement and drama from a secure and distant perspective. But no pleasure is comparable to the standing upon the vantage ground of truth, a hill not to be commanded, and where the air is always clear and serene, and to see the errors and wanderings and the mists and tempests in a vale below. Here, Bacon suggests that while the aforementioned pleasure are enjoyable, they cannot match the delight of being in a position of truth. Being on the vantage ground of truth means having a clear and unobstructed views of things, just like standing on a hilltop with a serene atmosphere. From this position, one can observe the errors, uncertainties, confusions, and turmoil present in the valley below, which represents a world filled with misunderstandings and ignorance. So, always that this prospect be with pity and not with swelling or pride. Bacon emphasizes that this view of truth should be accompanied by compassion and empathy or pity. It shouldn't lead to arrogance or pride in the person who possesses this understanding. Instead, the individual should be humble and understanding towards those who are not yet enlightened by the truth. Bacon now expresses a profound and uplifting perspective on the ideal state of a human mind. Bacon suggests that when a person's mind operates in a particular way, it can lead to a truly blissful and heavenly experience on earth. To have a man's mind move in charity. The term charity here does not only refer to giving to those in need, but also encompasses a broader sense of goodwill and compassion towards others. Bacon is emphasizing the importance of having a mind that is open, kind, and understanding towards fellow human beings. When one's thoughts and judgments are guided by charitable feelings, it creates a harmonious and empathetic connection with others, leading to a more fulfilling life. Rest in providence. Providence refers to a higher power or divine guidance that governs the universe. Bacon suggests that a content and a peaceful mind is one that rests in the belief that there is a greater plan or order to the world. Trusting in providence means accepting that things happen for a reason and that there is a purpose behind the events unfolding in our lives. This perspective can bring a sense of serenity and acceptance even in difficult times. Turn upon the poles of truth. Here, Bacon chooses a metaphorical expression to convey the importance of seeking and aligning one's mind with the truth. Just as the earth revolves around its poles, a person's mind should revolve around truth as its central guiding principle. Living a life grounded in truthfulness and honesty leads to clarity, authenticity, and integrity in all aspects of life. In these lines, he shifts from discussing theological and philosophical truth to the truth in civil matters or everyday life. Bacon points out that even those who may not always adhere to honesty would agree that straightforward and honest dealings are a noble aspect of human nature. Just as gold and silver coins are valued for their purity and integrity, so too is truthfulness highly esteemed in human interactions. Bacon uses the metaphor of coins to explain this concept further. When gold or silver coins are mixed with impurities or alloyed, they may become more workable or malleable, making them easier to shape or mold. However, this mixing also reduces the precious metal's intrinsic value, debasing it. Similarly, when people mix falsehoods or lies in their dealings, they may find short term benefits or advantages, but ultimately, it tarnishes their integrity and a character. Bacon criticizes deceitful and deceptive behavior, comparing it to the winding and crooked movements of a serpent. The serpent, a symbol of cunning and deceit in many cultures, slides upon its belly and not upon its feet, signifying its deceitful nature. Bacon emphasizing that there is no vice that brings more shame upon a person than being found false and disloyal. When someone engages in dishonesty, lies or betrayal, they undermine trust and integrity both in themselves and in the eyes of others. Bacon argues people to act with integrity and walk upon the path of truth rather than resorting to deceitful tactics that bring shame and dishonor. In this section of the essay, he refers to the perspective of Michel de Montaigne, a French philosopher and essayist. Montaigne pondered why telling a lie carries such a strong sense of disgrace and contempt. He observed that when someone is accused of lying, it implies not only a lack of integrity towards others, but also a lack of courage and honesty towards themselves and God. To understand this concept more broadly, let's break down the lines. To say that a man lieth is as much to say as that he is brave towards God. When someone tells a lie, they are acting dishonestly, betraying the truth. In religious or spiritual terms, this act goes against the principle of honesty and integrity that many belief systems value. It shows a lack of reverence for a higher values, moral principles, or divine truth that one might hold dear, and a coward towards man. Telling a lie also reflects a sense of fear or lack of courage when dealing with others. Instead of facing the truth and being honest, a person chooses to hide behind falsehoods, possibly to avoid consequences, conflict, or uncomfortable situations. This avoidance indicates a certain cowardice in facing the reality of their actions or thoughts. Bacon begins by stating that lies may be able to deceive humans, but they cannot escape the inquiry of a higher power, that is God. A lie, in its essence, is an insult to truth and goodness, and it is something that is inherently displeasing to God. Bacon then emphasizes the harshness of the wickedness of falsehood and breach of faith. He asserts that there is no greater way to express the evil of deception and betrayal than the fact that it will eventually bring divine judgment upon generations of humanity. This implies that God, in His wisdom, has established a natural order of justice, and dishonesty and unfaithfulness will not go unpunished. At the end, he referred to a prophecy about the coming of Christ, stating that he will not find faith upon the earth. This reference speaks to a perceived decline in moral values and the destruction of truthfulness and trustworthiness in society. In a broader context, Bacon is cautioning against the grave consequences of falsehood and breach of trust. He believes that lying and unfaithfulness are not only harmful in their immediate impact, but also have far reaching consequences that affect entire generations. The lack of honesty and integrity in individuals and societies not only distances them from God but also disrupts the fabric of social harmony and trust. Thank you so much for watching. I trust you found this lesson valuable. Don't forget to subscribe for more engaging videos like this. Stay tuned and keep learning.